The Monmouth baseball team looks ahead to a crucial weekend series with the Niagara Purple Eagles up in Western New York. I was able to catch up with senior Steve Wilgus as well as reliever Jeff Paglione to get their thoughts on the past games that they've played this week, as well as the big conference series coming up this weekend with the Purple Eagles. All right, Steve, as we look ahead to the big weekend series with Niagara, let's first look back. Big 3-1 win against in-state rival Seton Hall earlier in the week. Talk about what it's like winning a non-conference game with a state rival before the league series this weekend.
That was huge. That's not only a confidence booster for us, but that's something that we always try to do every year, is trying to beat our in-state rivals. We did with Rutgers this year, and it's very important to us to kind of establish our dominance in New Jersey. So it was definitely a big win. Beating Seton Hall, I can't really remember. I mean, we've beaten them, but haven't beaten them at their place, which was good. Which was a good thing for Wednesday. But definitely a confidence booster going into this weekend.
And then before we talk specifically about the series with Niagara, you've been on a bit of a tear at the plate of late. Talk about how you're seeing the ball, because it seems as though the whole team struggled early in the year, but everyone's kind of coming around now. You especially at the top of that lineup.
Yeah, it's just about it's something we work through every year as hitters. I mean, not all the time is everything going to be great, and statistically things might not be showing that you're working on. So it's a tough time of the year for the beginning of the year, especially for us Northeast schools. We don't really get outside a lot, so I think now you're starting to see a kind of a byproduct of us seeing a lot of pitches outside, and definitely starting to come together as a lineup.
And now it's got to be nice too that when you're outside, you get the sun behind us instead of the cold weather and the snow. Does that make a difference at all as the season kind of wears on?
Definitely, yeah. It's much nicer playing in warmer weather. Obviously, it's not only us. I mean, this is something that all Northeast teams have to deal with. So, I mean, it's definitely nice playing in this, but we got to be ready to play in anything. So.
Now, as we look ahead towards this weekend, big series in Western New York with Niagara, what do you and what does your team have to do to go up there and be successful this weekend?
We just got to go out and play our game. I mean, sometimes you make things too complicated. We just have to go up there, play the game that we're capable of, and I'm pretty confident that we can come away with a series win. But it's a very important series for both of us. We get to that second part of the year, where people start making moves, and there's definitely going to be a lot of anticipation for this series, definitely a lot of excitement, so it should be a good one to be a part of.
All right, Jeff, before we look ahead to the series with Niagara, I want to ask you the same question that I asked your teammate Steve Wilgus. This past week, getting a big non-conference win up at Seton Hall. It's a place that Monmouth hasn't done particularly well in the past. Talk about the team's performance as well as you getting the win, 3 innings of scoreless relief.
Well, Matt gave us a great start, especially as a freshman, his first real start, and he threw the ball well, gave us 6+ around there, and he held him in check, only giving up 1 run, and Brambilla came in, did a great job for an inning, and, I just tried to keep it where it was. I didn't want to – obviously, you don't want to come in and give up that run to lose the game, but once we got the lead, I knew it was time to shut it down.
And I know I've asked you this question before, but I'm always curious, when it's non-league versus league, when it's weekend versus weekday, as a reliever, your mindset, is it the same? Does it change at all? And really, if anything, are you working towards that weekend with the performance against Seton Hall?
Well, you really – midweek games are kind of more relaxed for a relief guy. You're not really in that pressure situation because it's not really do or die. Like, it's a weekday game. It doesn't mean the most, but especially against Seton Hall and in-state rivals, you want to go out and you want to win, and that's exactly what we did. And I think that if you take the mentality of a weekend game into a weekday, you should be successful.
Now, as we look ahead to this coming weekend, you take on a Niagara team that you and them are kind of right next to each other in the standings. Obviously, the league tournament is a couple of weeks away, but really playoff baseball kind of starts right now this weekend going up to Western New York. Talk about the importance of this series.
It's huge. They weren't really expected to do great this year. They haven't made the tournament in a while, and we're a team that we're expected to do well, so we're right next to them in the standings, and I think a big series win this weekend could make the future extremely bright for us.
And then what does this pitching staff as a whole, starters, you guys in the bullpen, what do you guys have to do to go out and be successful?
I think we just need to compete. Every guy needs to be on the attack. We need to not let into anybody. We need to shut down their best guys, and if we can do that, we can probably sweep these guys and come out with a series win.
I want to thank both Steve Wilgus and Jeff Paglione for joining me as we look ahead to Monmouth Baseball's big weekend series up in Western New York with the Niagara Purple Eagles. You can follow along all weekend long by following Monmouth Baseball on Twitter at MUHawksBaseball. And as always, you can keep it locked to MonmouthHawks.com and the Monmouth Digital Network.